Hello everyone, myself Srinivas. I welcome you all for the course of 10th Standard Physical Sciences. Friends, to make this video, I am following the AP 10th Class Physical Sciences textbook, and the very first chapter is heat. So let us start discussing about heat. And in this video, I'll explain you about what is heat and what is temperature. So my channel name is Learn with Science. So please subscribe to my channel. Do like this video and also share this video with your friends guys. And also for new notifications, click on the bell icon. So let us start. So first of all, let us understand what is energy. So regularly we use this term energy. So we are doing so many works regularly, and to do any of the work we are utilizing our energy. So to do any of the work we need to have some energy. That energy must be transferred to an object to perform a specific work. So without energy we can't do anything, and this energy is a conserved quantity. So what is a conserved quantity? To understand this, let us read Law of Conservation of Energy. What is this law stating? Energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. Means whatever the energy that is available in this universe, that energy is fixed. You cannot create any of the energy and you cannot destroy any of that energy. But we can transfer the energy from one of its form to the another form. See, the energy is having various forms. It is available in so many forms, and we can convert it from one form to the another form. Let's see few forms. One of the form is electrical form. In our houses, we are using electrical energy and we are obtaining so many forms of energy from electricity. Like to get wind energy, we are using the fan. To get heat energy, we are using induction stoves as well as heater. So for cooling purpose, we are using refrigerator. Like that, we are converting electrical energy into so many other forms using some appliances. Like chemical energy. A battery is having chemical energy in it, but it gives electrical energy for us. Thermal. So when we burn coal in a thermal power plant, it gives thermal energy, and that thermal energy is converted to generate electricity. So along with them, sound is one of the form of energy. Atomic energy is there. So there are so many forms of energies, and what we do, we can convert one form of that energy to the another form of the energy. So in our day-to-day life, we also use these two terms, hotter and colder. So let us understand what actually they mean. The generally used hotter and colder are much different in the view of our physics. Basically, hotter and colder are relative terms. We have to use these words while we are comparing two objects in view of their heat energies. For that, let us take an example, or we do a small activity. What we have to do, let us take two wooden pieces, okay, and keep one of the wooden piece in refrigerator for some time. Later, you take it out from refrigerator and hold it in your hand. What you have to do, you have to hold one of the wooden piece in your one hand that is taken from refrigerator, and another wooden piece from outside you have to hold it in another hand. Then what we can feel, will be feeling the wooden piece that is taken out from refrigerator as colder than the taken from outside, or which we kept it outside. So the one from refrigerator is colder, whereas the one from outside is hotter. So here we can also say that the wooden piece from refrigerator is colder body, or it is having low temperature. Okay, it is a low temperature body, and the wooden piece that is outside, it is hotter and it is the high temperature body. Okay. Now we'll do another activity, and in this activity we collect a wooden piece and an iron piece. Okay. Now what we do, we put both of them in the refrigerator for some time. Okay, we are putting both the wooden piece and this iron piece in refrigerator for some time, and after some time we are holding them in our hands and we are feeling their hotness. What can we feel? We feel the iron piece as much colder than that of wooden piece. Actually, the wooden piece and the iron piece both kept in refrigerator and both are cooled. But compared to the wooden piece, the iron piece is much more colder. So here, as iron piece is much colder, this is the cold body and this wooden piece is your hot body. So the iron piece is the colder body, or we can say this is the low temperature body, and the wooden piece, it is not that colder as iron piece, so it will become our hotter body, or it is known as the high temperature body. Hope you understand. So now let us discuss the definition for heat. So heat is a form of energy. So like in the first slide, we discussed that there are so many forms for energy. So among those forms, heat is also one of the form for the energy, and this heat energy transfers from body at high temperature, that is hot body, to a body at low temperature, that is your cold body. So heat energy flows from hot body to cold body. Okay, so heat is an energy that flows from hot body or high temperature body to a low temperature body or a cold body, and these bodies must be in thermal contact. What is this thermal contact? So let us assume on a bench you have kept a bottle and someone is asking whether that bottle is cold or hot. Unless touching that bottle, can you say whether it is cold or not? We can't just say, without touching, we can't just say whether it is cold or hot. So we need to have a contact with that bottle so that some energy is transferred between that bottle to our body so that we can judge whether it is cold or hot. So there must be a contact between the bodies for transfer of energy. Transfer of energy here is nothing but your heat energy. Okay, so heat is the energy here. The heat is represented with the letter capital Q. So whenever we are dealing with the problems or nomenclature, for heat we are using the letter Q. So wherever you find the letter Q in this chapter, it represents heat energy. Heat is measured using the device known as calorimeter. So while heating something, how much heat we given to it, that we can measure actually with the help of a calorimeter. Okay. So coming to the units, we know that there are CGS system, MKS system, SI system. So there are CGS units and SI units for heat. In CGS terms, we measure heat in terms of calories. Okay, the SI units are joule. The CGS units are calorie and SI units are joule. And 1 calorie means 4.186 joules. So this is the conversion formula that we can use to convert from calories to the joules. 1 calorie means 4.186 joule. Now let us discuss what is temperature. So temperature is degree of coldness or hotness of a body. So what we said, whichever hot body is there, that hot body we termed as high temperature body, and the cold body we said it as low temperature body. So which body is colder and what is its degree, that is its temperature. So which body is hotter and what is its degree, that is nothing but its temperature. So temperature is nothing but the degree of coldness or hotness of a body, and we represent temperature with the letter T. And we know that we measure the temperature using thermometer, right? And in thermometers, what is the material used? We are using mercury. And how it actually works? So because of temperature variation, the mercury level will rise or lowers. Okay, whenever some heat is supplied to this mercury, that mercury will expand so that the level will rise. Okay, based on that we will know what is the temperature of a body. And the SI units for temperature is Kelvin. So the SI unit is Kelvin for temperature. and this temperature can also be expressed in degrees Celsius. Okay. Normally we see that the day-to-day temperature as 23 degrees, 25 degrees, that is given in Celsius. We also measure the temperature in terms of Fahrenheit. Whenever we consult a doctor, he measures our body temperature in terms of Fahrenheit, that is Fahrenheit. 96 degree Fahrenheit, 100 degree Fahrenheit, like that. So degree Celsius, where we usually use this Celsius terms to measure the temperature, daily temperature of atmosphere. So how to convert Kelvin to the degree Celsius? So here you can see this is the Celsius thermometer representation, and here we have a Kelvin scale representation. Here you can see minus 273 degrees Celsius. So this is the maximum negative temperature that we can record. So this is equivalent to 0 in a Kelvin scale. So what is the difference here? 273 is the difference. 273. Now if we have 0 degree Celsius, what the Kelvin scale will show us? It shows us 273 degrees. The boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius in normal terms, and in Kelvin scale we can have it as 373 Kelvin. So what is the difference from here to here? 273. So in order to convert the temperature in degrees Celsius to Kelvin scale, just we need to add how much? We have to add a factor of 273. That is what given here. To get anything in Kelvin scale, just add 273 to the Celsius scale temperature. So for any of the Celsius scale temperature, if you add 273, then you can get it in Kelvin scale. So here there is an example problem for us. Let us solve this. Convert 20 degrees Celsius. So this is degree, sorry. Convert 20 degrees C into Kelvin scale. So just now we seen, if we have anything in Celsius and to convert it into Kelvins, how much we need to add? 273. So by using this formula, we get it as K equals to, we need to add 273, and what is it's given? 20. So 20 plus 273, it comes out to be 293 Kelvin. Hope you understand. So whichever Celsius scale we are having, just add 273 so that it will be converted to Kelvin. And remember, whenever you are writing Celsius, you put degree here, and whenever you are writing Kelvin, don't put any degree. Okay? Kelvin doesn't have any degree associated with it. Okay? Hope you understand this problem. So temperature indicates direction of heat flow. How it is indicating the direction of heat flow? So let us discuss. Let us take two containers A and B. So A is hot and B is cold. And I already told you that hot body is having high temperature. So let us have the temperature of A, that is TA, and the temperature of BB, TB. Since A is hotter and B is colder, temperature of A is obviously greater than temperature of B. Since heat flows from hot body to cold body, so heat direction is like this. Heat will be flowing from A to B. Heat is not flowing from B to A. Remember, heat is flowing from hot body to cold body, or high temperature body to low temperature body. So here heat is flowing from body A to body B. Whenever you are countering questions like from which direction to which direction the heat is flowing, then you have to check the temperature of those bodies. So whichever body is having high temperature, that will give the heat energy to a body is having the less temperature. Okay. And here one more point is there. It is measure of thermal equilibrium. So temperature means you are measuring the thermal equilibrium. So let us discuss what is thermal equilibrium. So again consider the two containers A and B. So A is hot here, B is cold here, and let us assume both are having a thermal contact. So I am considering it in three different situations. So now see here, the initial temperature, I mean the starting temperature of A is 50 and starting temperature of B is how much? 30. So since A is having high temperature, it is your hot body obviously, and it is your cold body. So heat flows from hot body to cold body, right? So heat energy is flowing from hotter body to the colder body. So heat is the energy, right? So when A is delivering some heat to the B, so A is losing heat. A is losing the heat. What happens to B? B is gaining that heat. B is gaining that heat. So see here, as A is losing its energy to B, its temperature will gradually reduce. So what happened in the second case, as A is transferring its heat to the B, its degree of hotness is reducing. Its degree reducing means its temperature is reducing. So from 50, the temperature fallen down to 45. As B is gaining that energy from A, its degree of hotness is rising, no? So its degree rising, so its temperature is rising from 30 to 35. And here if you check, still A is having high temperature than B. 45 is greater than 35. So A is continued to lose its energy to B. And its temperature again reduces. Okay. So let us assume the new temperature for body A is 40 degree. Meanwhile, whatever the heat lost by A, it is gained by B, right? So its degree is increased to 40. Okay. Now look at this situation. Here in the third situation, body A is having 40 degree, body B is also having 40 degree. Both are having equal temperature now. Now which one is hotter body or which one is colder body? So when both the temperatures are equal, there is no hotter body or there is no colder body, but heat only flows from hotter body to the colder body. Since there is no hotter, there is no colder, there is no heat transferring between the two bodies. So I hope you understand what is thermal equilibrium. So when two bodies are in thermal contact, heat will flow between the two bodies. How long will it flow? How long will it flow means whenever there is temperature difference between the bodies, then only the heat will be flowing between the bodies. And when the temperature of both the bodies becomes equal, there is no temperature difference, both attained the same steady temperature, then at this condition there is no heat lost or there is no heat gained by the bodies, and they will be having the fixed temperature, that is nothing but its thermal equilibrium condition. So when two bodies are said to be in thermal equilibrium, so when I say there is a body A and there is a body B which are in thermal equilibrium, so what it represents? Thermal equilibrium means both are having the same temperature. So temperature of A is equals to temperature of B when both the bodies are in thermal equilibrium. Okay, or I can say both the bodies A and B are in thermal equilibrium when they are in when they are having the same temperature. Now if I am saying that body A is having 45 degree and it is equilibrium with body B, then what it represents? B is also at 45 degree. So that it means temperatures of both the bodies will be equal at thermal equilibrium condition, and there is no heat that flows between the two bodies, as there is no hot body or no cold body. I hope you understand, but if there is any misconceptions, so let us understand with this simple analogy. So for example, there is a water tank A and there is a water tank B, and assume there is no water in tank B, but in tank A it is filled with water. It is completely filled with water. So in order to transfer some water from A to B, I need to have a connection between them two, right? So here I am connecting one pipe like this so that water from A can be traveled to tank B. So here if we connect like this much level of water only will be transferred to tank B. Okay, this much only will be transferred, and what is left in A? This much is left in A. So this much is left in A. So here which quantity is actually flowing? Water is flowing from tank A to tank B. So to transfer water from A to B, what we have connected here? We have connected one pipe here. So this pipe is like thermal contact for heat flow. So here water is flowing, no? Just like that, between those two bodies, what is the energy flowing? Heat energy is flowing. But here, although we have water in A, it is not transferred to B after certain time. Why? Because it is not supporting for transfer. So let us call this as temperature. So based upon temperature only, the heat will transfer. So heat is the original energy that is transferring between the two bodies, and the heat flow is judged by the temperature difference. If there is no temperature difference, there is no heat flow occurs. And here one more thing, the water direction is from A to B. Okay, water is flowing in this direction, and is there a possibility that water can come from B to A? No. Here in this case we considered there is no possibility for transferring of water from B to A. Now this is also similar to the previous example, but what we have done here, now tank B is having water and it is supported by a plinth, so that it is not on the ground, it is certain level above the ground. So when tank B is completely filled with water, this much level of water can be transferred from tank B to tank A. Now this is the direction of water flow. Now let us assume this much amount is filled and this much amount is left in tank B. So if there is no thermal contact, there is no water flow or heat flow. Okay, so here this connection is similar to thermal contact for heat transfer. Here water is flowing, no, it is analogous to the flow of heat between the two bodies. So here for the flow of water, pressure levels are verified. Okay, here based upon the pressure levels only the water is flowing. Just like that, based upon temperature levels only heat will be flowing between the two bodies. Okay. And one more thing I have to discuss. Here we are saying temperature is measure of thermal equilibrium. So we understand what is thermal equilibrium, but how temperature is the measure of thermal equilibrium? So for example, we met a doctor. Okay, suppose assume we are feeling ill and we met a doctor, we are consulting a doctor. So how he measures our body temperature? With the help of a thermometer. So when he is using the thermometer has to indicate our body temperature. So for example, our body temperature is, let us assume 90 degree F, Fahrenheit, 90 degree Fahrenheit, and let us assume the thermometer has taken from 80 degree Fahrenheit room temperature, let us assume. Okay, this is for example case only. Our body temperature is 90 degree and the thermometer is actually indicating 80 degree in it. So this thermometer has to indicate 90. So the doctor will make the thermometer come in contact with our body. So whenever the thermometer come in contact with our body, heat energy will flow from our body to thermometer. Why? We are hot body, thermometer is cool body. So heat flows from our body to the thermometer. So when that heat is transferred, the mercury level starts to expand, so that it will be rising from 81, 82, like that it will go to 90, right? So our body temperature is 90 and the thermometer temperature is, the thermometer is also indicating 90. Both the temperatures are equal. When both the temperatures are equal, will there be any heat flow? No. Okay. So here, in order to indicate the temperature of our body, the thermometer must come in contact with our body, as well as to indicate the correct temperature of our body, the thermometer also has to raise to the temperature. So it has to be in equilibrium with our body, so that it will show the exact temperature same as our body temperature. Hope you understand why we are saying temperature as measure of thermal equilibrium. So whenever we are measuring the temperature of a particular object, we are actually going in equilibrium with that object. So only in equilibrium we measure the temperature of a particular object. So this is for this video. In the next video, I will be explaining you about absolute temperature. So guys, please subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, please click on the like button and also share it with your friends. For new updates from this channel, please click on the bell icon. If you are having any doubts or suggestions to me, please please comment in the comment section. Thanks for watching.